Okay, welcome to a wellness gathering, and as we continue to take ownership of our health and well-being mindset with the principles of core alignment. And today we're going to be focusing on N for nourish or nourishment, and Lynne Hilderman, who's a specialist of core alignment clearing and coaching, and she's got other degrees. She's going to lead us with this session. Lynne.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so we're going to be looking at our mindset with taking more ownership for our health and our wellness. And it is interesting because mindset has been up in a few other realms for me over the last week or so. And but today we're going to be focusing on nourishment and the things that we find nourishing. So we're going to start our time together with saying your name, saying where you are, and tell us what is something you know a lot about. So my name is Lynne. I'm in Calgary, Alberta. And go with the first thing that comes up when you ask yourself that question. So something that I know a lot about is, well, I guess the first thing that comes up for me is body work, because I've been in the massage therapy body work industry since I met my partner in 1990. And so I just know a lot about different therapies, different ways to work with the body, but also I know a lot about the mind-body connection, and I guess through core alignment and emotional wisdom training, how our minds, our bodies, and our hearts all align, and how we're all whole, perfect, creative, and resourceful, doing the best we can do with the information that we currently have. And we are always gathering more information to support ourselves, which is one of the principles of core alignment, and being aligned with our core. So, and recognizing that events, incidences, and accidents are happening all the time, and that we can either go back into our file bank of memory and gather information that we've already had there, or we can gather more information as well and add it to that bank of information to create more resourceful choices. So that's something I know a lot about. I kind of went on a tangent there. So how about you, Madeline?
I'm Madeline. I'm in Calgary, Alberta. And something that I know a lot about. Well, I'm going to say me, because I have lived with me for, 60 plus years. And although I am always discovering new things about me, one of the things that I do know is that I am creative and resourceful, and that I do enjoy learning, and I do enjoy sharing, and I do feel a lot of things at a lot of times, and regardless of whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So just the feeling my feels and making it all okay is one of the things I'm very proud of. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you, Madeline. Hattie Jane?
Hi, I'm Hattie Jane Derricott. I live in Falls Church, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., in the lower 48. And what do I know for sure?
Oh, what is something you know a lot about?
Pardon me?
What is something you know a lot about?
Nothing.
Come on.
But a new awareness that's been there, but it's that that I'm really happy and I'm joyous when I get to share something that I've learned recently with somebody. It's just more fun.
Awesome.
And the only
Thanks.
thing is, I kind of blur it out, and I may not know all I need to know about it when I do it.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Olive?
My name is Olive, and I'm in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. That initially kind of threw me because I hate to say I'm an expert on anything, because then people expect me to know things about that topic. But probably the thing I could say the most about with confidence is plants. I've always got a house full of plants. I've had gardens in the past. I don't currently, but plants.
Cool. Cool. Awesome. Lorraine?
Yeah, I'm Lorraine, and I'm in Osoyoos, British Columbia, and something that I know a lot about. That's I like yours, Madeline, about yourself, but I think that a lot about. I know a lot about people's histories, and because I'm really keen on their stories, and I was really into archives and enjoying listening to stories, and I think that, I mean, it's not a specific thing, but it's just the interest that I gravitate to autobiographies, stories, how people got here, and just the philosophy of their stories and their beliefs as they went along through their life. I think that sort of came to my mind immediately.
Awesome. Well, I kind of picked that question because it's kind of part of our intuition and our life, how we've lived our lives to this point, depending on where we are. And I think there's often times in life that there's things we know and there's things we don't know. And we're always learning more. So I kind of picked that question with this idea of nourishment and the things that we do that are nourishing for ourselves, and how we connect to our intuition in choosing the things that are nourishing to us, recognizing that it might be different from one person to the next. So I'm going to just start with the question, and the question would be what way do you connect nourishment with your intuition? Hattie Jane?
I'm learning that I don't know. This is something to explore and sit on and steam kettle it. Because it's like, as I said, I've become aware that particularly on Zoom here, I thoroughly enjoy being a contributor when I feel I know something. But I also feel I'm aware that I am sometimes like that 5-year-old goes, I know. They may not know all they think they know, but it's just the joy is there, and that feels good. And so intuition, I'm going to sentimental on that one a little bit, because I think that's something I need to listen to better.
Got it. So the contribution that you make with your intuition, or when you're showing up online?
Well, I feel that I want to say, oh, look, I know that. I know something about that. Let me tell you something.
Got it.
And I feel like I've added to people's knowledge base. But I'm also recognizing that I have this impulsive tendency to, it's not that I have to know, not someone has to listen to it, not each and every time, but that the way it's coming across sometimes, I've been aware of little subtle click-clicks in people's faces or in voices or in sentence following that perhaps my manner of delivery can use a little bit of polishing.
Thank you. How about you, Olive?
Well, I'm going to stick with my theme of plants. I have an intuition about when they need more care, when they need, maybe need to be pruned, when they need more water, when they need to have more light. That's where my intuition is.
And that would go into the nourishment that they are requiring.
Yeah.
And
I think I am nourished by having plants in my house, and I feel that I reciprocate by nourishing them. This is my
ooh,
Oh,
wow.
pretty babies.
Oh, yes. Well, and they nourish us, right? We nourish them and they nourish us, right?
In subtle ways and in quite obvious ways. They purify the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just make me feel better.
That
They
would
just make me feel happy.
Madeline?
Well, nourishment and intuition. I think what comes to mind most is the idea of nourishing the positive, nourishing and what you get out of focusing on the gratitude and the positive aspects of life, and that you're then flowing more, and following your intuition is about flowing more. And so I think there is value in recognizing that when you fight against things, that you're not really encouraging the positive, you're sort of jumping on the bandwagon of what shouldn't be more than what is or could be in terms of potential and possibility and joy and all the ease and everything else. So I think that's where my head goes when I think of nourishment and intuition.
Awesome. What about you, Lorraine?
That's, I'm trying to put in concept of nourishment and intuition, and it's, I'm like you, Hattie Jane. It's okay. How does this really work? Yeah, I know nourishing. There's so many things about nourishing. I mean, you nourish when you do affirmations of nourish your well-being or your energy or whatever. And I think maybe with the intuition it's when you have the intuition to do that little exercise, then that they work well together. And you really need that intuition that I'm going to do this. So it's not really something that you can really put your fingers on. I like yours, Madeline, how you described it as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've asked, part of core alignment is to ask a question 3 times and gather information, because when we first ask the question, we answer with the first level of our body, our conscious awareness. The second time we ask the same question, we answer more from our subconscious, from our thoughts, feelings, emotions from the past. And then the third time we answer, it often aligns and it comes from our heart, and it comes from that intuitive place where all of those, where anything is possible. And so with that question, we're putting together nourishment and we're putting together intuition and looking at how we nourish ourselves in our, health and our wellness, and taking more ownership for our health. So when I think of nourishment and intuition, I think of, nourishment for me feels like it brings some quality of fulfillment or joy or some sense of pleasure that's going to help my body feel better or it's going to nourish me. Like that's when I think of nourishment. So when I think of my intuition, I think that if I'm following my intuition more, then I think it's going to be easier for me to notice the things that will be nourishing as opposed to the things that might not be. So that's what comes up for me around this nourishment with intuition. So when you think of your health and your wellness and how you're caring for yourself and your environment and others, and what way can you bring more nourishment into your life, Madeline?
Well, for me specifically, it's discipline because I can be really, really lazy and not get out and do things that I, know I should be doing, like taking in the fresh air and being conscious of how much my body is moving. So I know for a fact that I have the desire, but I don't always have the discipline. And so I can be a real I can fall back on, oh yeah, that'd be a good idea, but I'm not following through. So that follow through and discipline.
Got it. Follow through and discipline. Cool.
Mm.
Olive?
I want you to repeat that question because I really got caught up in Madeline's theme of discipline because I need that too. And
Yeah, well, the question.
Own answers.
Well, the question is, bringing more nourishment into your life, what way could you bring more nourishment into your life?
Well, I think through a healthier diet. I think sugar is my weakness, and I would really like to eliminate it. I know I'll never totally eliminate it, but I think I need to really cut back on it. I find it easy in the summertime to eat a healthier diet. Lots of greens and vegetables are fresh and available. It just seems in the deep darkness of January that there's really nothing appealing on the shelves. So
There isn't.
I need to be creative about my diet. That's
so some creativity into it. Cool. How about you, Hattie Jane?
Well, nutrition for me, I was thinking more in alignment of feeling of self-growth and feeling of self-activity, so that more variety can be, and I would feel that I would want to trust myself more and trust my intuition that I am laying out a pathway that would be more effective to bring nourishment in my life, whether it be in food things or in relationships or within business, or I don't know. It's like when you go to doing kinesiology on yourself to see if this thing is going to be good to imbibe or whatever. I hesitate, and I've been hesitating because I didn't trust myself. Because I've, over the years of following different things and following different pathways of what I was supposed to do and how things, and it didn't always work so well. And it definitely wasn't fun. So now I'm having a chance to say, okay, let's do some things and trust yourself. And it's not an automatic. So the nourishment I feel is across the board, a feeling that I do have the capacity to have the intuition and enjoy the activities all across the board.
Cool. That's awesome. So trusting yourself more with that self-growth and trusting your intuition more. And how
knowing,
that plays in.
the basic things we know for wellness, health, survival, there are some things that we need to pay some attention to. And now what intuition is something that, okay, what is something that you triage? What has got to be dealt with now?
Mm.
This is important. And what is something that you put on the back burner that maybe better bring out? And some things, it's put them on the back burner
Yeah, got it.
and feel good.
Yeah, awesome. Lorraine? I think you've taken your video off. Are you still there? Oh, there you are.
Well, I had to shut myself down because I had a phone call and they phoned twice. So I just told them to phone back in 15, 20 minutes. So
Okay, there you go.
that's why I blanked myself.
Got
Yes. So what was the question?
it.
Keep getting
Bringing-
distracted.
Welcome to my
that's right.
world.
Yeah, bringing more nourishment into your life. What way can you bring more nourishment into your life?
I think, how to bring more nourishment into my life is just, I think the feeling that we've been practicing this for such a long time that it's become a daily lifestyle of affirmations, gratitude, food that we eat, exercise, and that's on the side. But it's become all the tiny habits throughout our lives, and especially just lately, that we, is adding to, compounding and maintaining every day that we're going to do something positive. And I'm going to do something positive, and I'm going to to be grateful for it. And so it's the tiny habits of just incorporating in your daily life of what I'm doing every day, and it just compounds.
Cool. Yeah. Well, what I think of to bring more nourishment into my life, well, I concur with some of the things that have been said, just taking that, making that little 1 degree shift, or, that growth and trusting myself more, and listening more deeply to what what's happening in the moment. And the other thing that brings more nourishment in my life is recognizing that I have one day, and how, like at the end of the day, how did my day go? At the beginning of the day, how did I start my day? And what happened in between? And to glean all the amazing things that can happen in one day. And that does, it kind of builds those tiny habits, right? It builds on itself, but it's just one day at a time. And so I think nourishment comes in that way, is one day at a time. And if I'm worrying about the past or projecting into the future, then somehow I'm not in the moment and I'm not being present with what's going on. I'm worrying about where I'm going, or I'm worried about something I did or not. So I think staying present really brings more nourishment and helps me to follow my intuition. So what will you take with you from this conversation that will support you until we talk again, Madeline?
What I will take with me that will support me until we talk again. Good ideas, really, really good ideas to stay present, to listen to my intuition, to be trusting of my intuition. I think all of those were really good reminders, and creating the patterns that I want to continue with, the ones that I recognize that serve me. And it certainly sounds like everyone has spent some time developing those through their lives. So it's good to hear that.
Cool. Lorraine?
Yes, I quite agree, Madeline. It's what I'll take away from this conversation. It's interesting how just concentrating on a couple of ideas that you can really feel positive about it. I certainly will take that away today. gee, it's a lot of fun doing this.
Awesome. Patty Jane?
How can I follow that?
Yeah.
And the question is, what will I take away?
That'll support you until we talk again.
Yeah. Allow myself the awareness to stay with the awareness and see what comes up by a week.
Cool. So allowing yourself the awareness and to stay with the awareness.
Good.
Awesome. How about you, Olive?
To support me for the rest of the week until
Yeah.
we meet again, I will take the knowledge that I can focus back on this conversation and the advice and enlightenment that I've received from the group. That when I feel in need of nourishment, I can focus back on today.
Awesome. Well, what I will take away that'll support me until we meet again. Well, I kind of take away this sense of adventure around taking two concepts and diving into this unknown territory. Now, I can't even remember what was said. Thank goodness we have the recording. But I think that's what, really, when I follow my intuition, like for me, intuition is such a subtle thing, and it's not the thing that I think I can grab onto or figure out with my mind. And so that's what I'll take away, is the adventure. And that same thing of the fact that we had this conversation and that it is in sort of an unknown space, and it's helping us to build new pathways to wherever, it is that we're going. So what will you take with you that'll support you for the rest of your life, Hattie Jane?
I'm going to get through the first week first.
Awesome. Lorraine?
What I will take away that will support me the rest of my life, I think it's just the adventure of diving in, like you said, Lynn, these two concepts. And you when you do something and you're put these ideas in a conversation for a half an hour, all of a sudden there's more depth and clarity, and you're not judging, you're just sort of going with the flow or whatever. So I think that's what I'll take away from this conversation for the rest of my life.
Madeline?
What I will take away from this conversation for the rest of my life. Well, what a great chuckle we have always been able to have. That's really good. So having a good sense of humor and having that light feeling about life definitely supports me for the rest of my life, and I've appreciated that for lots and lots of my life. So that's really good.
Awesome. All of that.
To support me for the rest of my life, I will take the idea of balance, that nourishment is not just food. Nourishment is heart, soul, and body, and we need to keep all those things in balance.
Awesome. Yes, well, what I will take away is just an appreciation for these teachings, and for the fact that the grace that we've all shown up to have a conversation like this, and the difference that might make, that I might not be aware of. So thank you all for coming.
Okay, thank you very much, Lynn. And next week we'll be delving into another subject, E for engage or engagement. So it follows through. So we'll see you next week.